Good evening, those who are in East Africa. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are listening from. We want to thank God for this Monday session. It is in truth and in spirit, Well of Worship Fellowship. We are a non-denominational fellowship. We are in Uganda, East Africa. That's where we are. That's the base where we best to speak and communicate with all the world through the blessing of technology. We want to thank you for always tuning in. Every Monday we have a topical discussion, and every Thursday it's the same. We start from 6 to 8. So we are always here. We would like to thank God for He has given us that opportunity to participate in these discussions. So here we are today again. I am your moderator. I am Tumwine Mtabazi, and the topic today that we are going to talk about is created to work. Created work is a conclusion and almost a position. First, we infer that we were created. I know there are many people here who still have a debate on that, and I think we shall have that conversation in the future. And then we also attach on that conclusion that while we were created to work. So that's what we're going to look at. And the first point of discussion will be, are we created to work? And what does work have to do with rest? Okay, that is the first question that we're going to look at. There are some verses there from the Bible. Again, I have my young brother here who is always questioning why we attach verses to each and everything. We attach verses to most of the things that we do because we are trying to compare world views. The Bible is an entire world view, and then there's that other world view that does not have those verses. So normally you need a world view to start with, one which you can contrast with other existing world views. So we do not intend to gag you with verses and scriptures. That's not what we intend. But we intend to give an alternative to what is, so that we can have an able discussion and dialogue. So we have those verses there running. Then the second point of our discussion will be, what has work got to do with one's faith? Okay, what has it got to do with one's faith? There are some religions and some belief systems and faith systems that forbid their followers to do particular work. For instance, a Muslim or a Seventh Adventist cannot trade in swine. They cannot. And some religious people cannot open up a bar and consider that as work. They cannot cultivate marijuana and consider that as work. So what has work got to do with one's faith? Then the other point of our discussion will be, is work a result of the fallen world, or because many people think that working is suffering and working is a curse? They even have verses of reference, like in Genesis chapter 3, you shall work from your sweat, you shall get food and whatever you want through pain. Then we even have sayings, no pain, no gain. So is work a result of the fallen world? Is work a result of sin? Is it a curse? Okay. Then the other question again is, how is working a witness? How is it a witness? How does your working witness? When you are working, what does it communicate? What does it communicate about you? What does it communicate about your belief system? What does it communicate about your worldview? What does it communicate about your philosophy of life? When you're working, does it witness to others? For instance, in many cases, in the secular world, we call it inspiration. So how does your working inspire? How does it inspire your environment? Who inspired you into what you're doing? And why were you inspired by that individual? Why? And what inspired you the most? So that's what we call in Christianity. Does your working witness, does it witness, does it communicate? Does it communicate? And what does it communicate about you and your belief system and your deity, whoever that might be? Okay, and then finally, we will also look at the topic aspect of how and why should we teach our people to work? Why? Why should we teach them to work, etc., 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 etc. So that's what we're going to look at there today. It's good. I have almost a full house here. I don't know who can talk and who cannot. The last time I checked, Rutembana could talk. Seruvide wanted a few minutes so that he can settle in at home. I don't know, and I'm not sure where Jethro is. And Raymondo, you're welcome. Can you say hi? We need to be sure that we know who Raymondo is.
Oh no, original by Nempuno.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's what the moderator was complaining.
Zadini angetengana kulunda mbizi sebo. Nakupa namba.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. So that's how we are. So I want to hear from you. What do you think about work? Okay. First of all, are we created to work? Should we work, or we are working because of problems? How different is work from jobs? Or is a job a section of work? What's the difference, if there's a difference? What's the relationship, if there's a relationship between the two? So we want to, for people who listen to us so that they can understand what it means. It is a pity that my brother Muyanja is not here, but I have been complaining that in Uganda, in Africa, especially in Uganda, people are not working like they should be working. And my argument is that the reason as to why we are not working as we should be working is because we work in quarters and in month setting. So this whole thing of salary after 30 days, there is a way it discourages working. People sit on their desks, but they are actually not working. So I was thinking that if we quantified our work and we started working per hour and being paid per hour, or at least per day, to start off, I think Ugandans could work more. In East Africa, if you compare Uganda to Kenya and to Tanzania, you will notice that those Swahili communities, the two Swahili communities, are actually more hardworking than we are. One of the reasons, of course, is the differences in the countries, the nature of the country. Kenya is not so good. It doesn't have good land. It doesn't have anything good in nature. Tanzania, quite the same. So those Swahili communities are actually more hardworking and more aggressive than we are. Then Uganda, because it is a very, very blessed country, the Ugandans are very weak. They are not so hardworking. They don't believe that they are created to work. They look like they are created to enjoy. People start taking alcohol here in Uganda from morning to morning. That is something you cannot find in Rwanda, where the country is also not so good, filled with hills and mountains, you know. So basically it is it is likely that your geography and your environment will influence how you appreciate whether you are created to work or not. So the laziest in East Africa so far are Uganda and DRC, I think, and DRC. The South Sudanese are on drip. Those ones I won't even put on the list, even though their country is not, so that they are being abused by the Western businessmen and looters. So they are also not so hardworking now that they are just being fed, given dollars in exchange of their oils. So somehow, somewhere, people do not believe that they were created to work. People believe that they were created to enjoy. That is why in countries like Uganda and DRC, it is party after party. So we could start from that point. Do we really believe that we were created to work? Or were we actually created to work? And how do we look at work? What is your attitude towards work? How have you helped your family members, your children, for those of you who are parents like myself, to teach them the importance of work? How should Christians influence the policies in secular government so that people can be arranged and organized to work like they should be working? So this is all that we need to talk about. Yeah, whoever wants to go first, this is your time, please. Hello. Okay, if you don't switch on your microphone, I will call you out. Yes, Chairman.
No, I'm following. Just what it say. I'm following.
Okay,
and of course,
right.
it's a good topic.
Mm.
Created to work, like you've said, there are two claims: created and then to work.
Mm.
Today we are not here to argue about creation.
Mm.
That will be for another day.
Sure.
Yeah, and of course, it's one of those very, interesting topics, because I think in Genesis, work is introduced as a curse.
Mm.
But never mind that when God created Adam and Eve, according to that mythology, he placed them in a garden, meaning there's some form of work they're supposed to do,
Mm.
to work and take care of it. But later, again, we see work becoming a curse after they have sinned. And maybe that's why to this day we sweat through our work. Somehow, I think until the recent times, all work seemed to be for sweating. Nowadays, of course, people sit in air-conditioned offices and press a few buttons and then get paid. Yeah, but still, sweating is part of work. So I don't know. So I think there's no debate that we are created to work. What we probably need to discuss is what exactly does that work look like before sin and after sin. Okay. Yeah, were you created to just survive? Because some of us, our work is our survival. Take away our work and we cannot live, or we think we cannot live. Yeah, so we need to agree, like what does work look like in the mind of God if He created us to work? And what does work look like in a post-sin environment like we are in now, where work is even equated to status in society? It's related to purpose, and so on and so forth. So I hope by the end of this we'll have some kind of understanding. And of course, the other question will there be work in heaven? If yes, what kind of work? And how different would it be from our current hustle, as we call it?
All right.
Yeah. So I'll stop there for now.
Thank you so much. Let us even go chronological. Francis, do you have something to say about work? And can you talk wherever you are?
Yes, I can talk. Good evening, everyone.
Yes, good evening.
Just throwing something in the spanner. Is from my experience of work. Before 2017, I used to think that work was related to my survival or my sustenance, and those I'm responsible to. But when I retired in 2017, I discovered that for me to keep living or to keep enjoying life, I had to keep working. So despite the fact that I retired those many years back, I've still maintained a degree of work and a very good degree of work. So I believe what work is part and parcel of our. I think we are created to work. Part of living is working, and actually there is apart from sustenance, there is joy and satisfaction derived from working, especially if you're doing something you love doing or something you're passionate about. So we are created to work. Without work, life loses meaning. Actually, there was some research which I was reading, and it was discovered that many people die a few years after retiring. Many people have been working, for example, in public service or civil service. When they retire, they die off quickly because I don't know, maybe it's because they lose purpose in life, or the lack of routine and being absorbed in work and being actively absorbed in work. I think bears down on their lives and they die off quickly. So I am maintaining that we are created to work, and without work, our lives sometimes they lose meaning, and we lose the plot. Sometimes we lose the plot, not only psychologically but even physically, and die off. Thank you.
So yes, thank you so much, Francis, and that's very interesting, because what you've just told us is you've given us the definition of life, and partly life is working. When there is no working, life ends. That is why even when we are doing physical exercises, we call it working out. That's how we address the whole idea. So it is very important that people shouldn't dare retire from work, because retiring from work is retiring from life. And that's very, very, very interesting for people to understand. Therefore, there's nothing like, when we talk about retirement, we are talking about retiring from a job, not from work. So when you retire from your job, you must have prepared the work that you're going to do in retirement. There must be something that you're going to work on in retirement, because life is about working. In essence, therefore, we are created to work. Because that's how we live. In other words, working is a blessing to life, because the sustainability of life is working. The physics definition of work is motion and practice, and then the other aspect of work is production. Very interesting. Thank you, Lugorobi. Mr. Muyanja, you're welcome. It's good to have you. Rutembana, can I have you on this topic now? How long have you worked? What is your experience in working? What do you see that we need to change? What can you share with us, Rutembana? Okay, Rutembana Rio. All right, okay. Serubide, have you reached? Okay, Serubide, have you reached where you were going? All right then. Okay, Raymond, are you there? Oh, sorry, Raymond is on a border. Okay, that's all right. That's all right. We shall wait when you can. Okay, understood. Good. Bob,
But
can you hear?
hello?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm here now.
Oh, okay. So we wanted you to share your experience, your knowledge, and whatever it is about this topic of created work.
Yes. Me, I think that for you to survive, you have to work. And our survival comes from working. God created us and he put us on this earth, and the system was well arranged and well organized. But for you to survive from the system or to get anything and survive for like food, then you need to put in some effort. For example, you have to get a seed, put it in the soil, how it germinates, how it germinates, how it gets the roots, how it produces fruit. That is the system that he designed, and also him bringing the water, the rain at different intervals and all that. But you have to do your part of putting that seed in the soil, and also the moment you put it in the soil and it has grown and it's ready for harvesting, you have to remove it from the garden. So you have to work to survive and also cook it and all that. So God created us in that way. The only problem that came in is when human nature is when human nature takes over the original setting of God, where now we want to work for a return. That's where the problem is, where we want to work for money. And that is the one that kills the whole concept of work. Thank you.
Is it wrong to work for money?
Yeah, from the way God organized this system,
Okay.
it is self-sufficient, that it has each and everything.
Yes.
And everyone is supposed to. He planned Earth to the extent that maybe he knew the people that were going to be created. He provided enough resources. Now, for us who study economics, they tell us the game of economics is scarce resources, which is doubtable. Then he organized, he planned his thing properly. Yes. But now the problem is that our selfishness has disorganized the entire system. So that's why things like money, working for money, comes in. Then also things like scarcity comes in, and then it just takes the whole thing in a whole new direction.
I agree. I really agree. And you bring something very controversial that the discussants here need to think about. How has our selfishness affected the system of work and the purpose of work? Because what is paper money doing in working? What is paper money doing in the system of working? How are resources scarce? What does it mean that someone has worked their ass off and then they tell them that resources are limited and they are scarce, you know? And I think that discourages work, and is out of that greed, a few people are not working and they have made many other people work for them, and they have more than they need. They have more than they need, you know. And it has turned out a problem in one way or another, and that has actually abused the work ethics, and people no longer want to work, they want to do the job and then get the money. So my question, Muyanja, as you come in, is money the reward of work? Is money a suitable reward for work? I don't know whether you can talk, by the way. You didn't say hi, so
Yeah. I can talk.
Okay, sure. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, sure. Shoot from that question and then give us your experience, what you think about work, what you've seen in different countries vis-a-vis your motherland. What should we change? I was backbiting you before you joined, and I was telling people here that I wish we had the system of the Bobs there in the United States of working per hour. I guess people would work better and more than they work. and our country would change. I think we are not working as we should be working. We are sleeping, and we are spending too much time on social media and in churches. Not that I'm attacking people's faith, but I think we are spending so much time in churches and on social media, and even at what we call jobs, we are not actually doing what we should be doing, and hence the production is very low, and the development of our countries is actually very low. Developed countries, people are seriously working. So do you think that money is a suitable reward for work?
Yeah, I think it is because basically you're working to in this world, today's world, you work to be able to get your needs, okay, met, your needs met. So when you trade your time for that money, working for that money, and you're able to buy or eat or buy the clothes you want, or, but basically meet your basic life needs, then it's worth it. It's a good payment, and that motivates you that if you want to, something better, you work harder for it. However, also sometimes, yes, as I think it's Francis who said, work just brings meaning to some people. I mean, you can look around your village or your colleagues who are not working. It looks like they don't have a meaning in life. And they are just seated, or they're just playing matatu, or they are just, then they end up, because they still need to have their needs met, they end up stealing. Now, they may say stealing is my work. Now that's a discussion of another day. But the fact is, we need to definitely work in order to meet our needs. And then also we need to find what gives us meaning of life, because sometimes beyond the monetary value of work, some people measure their meaningful in life in the results of what they are seeing. If they have impacted life, they have impacted life, assisted many, maybe changed something. Work, as you said, sometimes can be voluntary or volunteer, and those who volunteer, they don't get paid. But when they volunteer and they are satisfied in the results they are seeing, you can volunteer to feed a kid, you can volunteer to take care of an old person, you can volunteer to put soil in a road with a beach. You can, because once you're done with that and you sit back and look, now the cars are passing there easily, there are no accidents or something. I mean, you get satisfied with the work you have done, even though you've not been paid in terms of monetary value. Do I make sense in that? Yeah. So
Yes.
the issue of time, you commented about working hourly pay and all that. The system here is very good, because there's a time for everything. Okay. Now, if you overwork, anything in excess is always bad. You have to balance. I think I saw the advert had on working and resting. You have to balance. You have to find time to rest your body. If you overwork the body, then the result is going to be disease, and you will not live longer. Okay, so there has to be that balance. You must find rest in between, and in that rest, you rejuvenate the body, energy. I mean, kind of the cells rest, and you're able to be refreshed for another cycle of work. So rest is important. So you cannot work 24/7. Or else it will be disease. Now the money you're being paid with the same money you're going to use to pay for hospital bills. So then it loses meaning. So everyone must find rest. Even here, when we are working hourly, the people who work hourly, and they are earning more and more and more. I know people who are saying that they are working almost 24 hours. Of course, you can't. In some organization, they realize that, these people, you can't say that we have to pay you 24 hours. You didn't sleep. You mean you did not sleep? You did not rest. So that's why people end up having jobs in another organization, because with one organization you cannot be. It's not practical that you are working 24 hours. So you get a job with another organization, and then that organization thinks when you are not working with them, you are resting. We've seen drivers who get involved in accidents on the road because they are sleeping behind the wheel, you know, those truck drivers, or, you know, because someone did not rest. There's a way it affects your life when you don't rest. So you have to find a balance between working and resting. Yes, you can work hard, but you have to find the time to also rest. Okay.
Is that why the Bible says in Exodus chapter 20, verse 9, that in 6 days you shall do your labor, but on the 7th day you shall rest?
Yes, I think so. And I have a different concept also on that too, that these guys had brought their slave mentality in that Exodus. Remember when they were slaves, their slave masters were making them work, 7 days a week, and the body needed to rest. So God was wise enough to tell these people, I'll force you to rest. You must take a rest. Your body must rest. Of course, it had another significant meaning, spiritual meaning, as we know, but literally also the literal meaning, your body needed to rest, So if you are working 6 days, that's why we are saying it doesn't matter whether you are resting on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Friday, but find a day of rest. Find some time to rest, and relax, and though some religions have stated it has to be specific, but no, it's all about the concept of resting after a hard work. So work hard, but also rest hard. That's why some people, when they're sleeping, they will tell you, do not disturb me. Here it is very, very bad to wake someone from their sleep.
Yes.
You can even be in trouble. If someone says, do not wake me up, don't wake them up. Let them rest, because they've worked hard, let their bodies rest so that they're able to refresh and even do a better job when their body has rested. I think I'll submit for now.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. You actually took us in a very interesting journey where you need to work, and the justification of your rest must be how much you have worked and how you've been working. Thank you so much. Ariong, are you driving? Are you on the way? Can you talk? Ariong, can you talk? Or at least can you type?
No, I can't talk now.
Okay.
I can't talk now.
That's all right. That's all right then. Good. Servide, have you reached anywhere? Or can you even hear us? Hey. All right. Servide can't. We don't know. We don't know, but we don't know whether you can even hear us. I think that's the whole challenge. Yes, Chairman. Do you want to?
No, just wanted to come in as we wait for Selvide and others.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, of course, one of the downsides of work in our modern setting is over glorification, or making an idol out of it.
How?
First of all, we link work is our everything. We can miss everything but work.
Yes.
We can miss church, we can miss family gatherings, we can miss everything except work. Why?
The man called it survival.
Survival.
But is
But
that
also,
so?
even besides survival, work also gives us identity. Some people.
Okay.
Who are you? I am a doctor. I am a lawyer. I am, So because we draw our identity, we equate ourselves to those things that we do for our work.
By not
therefore,
working,
we derive value. Sorry?
By not working, we are risking who we are.
Yes. That's why when someone asks, who are you? After telling them your name, they expect, some titles there.
Yes. What
or some kind of, what do you do? And typically people ask that question just to calculate how much respect to give you. If you say, I'm just a hustler in the street. Hey, okay. Well, yeah, and so on and so the downside of work is many times we equate it to our self-worth and therefore identity, which is very sad. But also when we work too much without resting, I think Bob talked about it, then we we have the modern problems of stress and burnout. Everybody in the working world is stressed. If you ask somebody, I think that's the most misused word as well. I am stressed. So because we are chasing the next, you asked whether work should be rewarded in terms of money. Because we are chasing all this money. I think that's a good question as well, by the way, to also discuss.
Yes, because for me, I don't really think it is worth my work. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, so I think where money came from, or at least in our foreign businesses, because value is supposed to exchange hands. Basically, you give something in terms of your work, then value moves one side, then remuneration moves the other way.
Rutemana wants to give you information.
Okay, Rutemana, come.
No, after you, Jet.
Oh, okay, fine.
After you.
Yeah, normally when you raise a hand upon the speaker, we think that you want to give them information. But anyway, continue, Jet.
No, I was just booking a space.
Okay. So I think money came about because there was no real way of measuring output from this so-called work of ours. I think the same reason we have exams in education, we've always discussed education here. Now, how do we tell that learning has taken place? I think that's when exams were introduced. So even in terms of work, I think money was introduced to measure the output from the work. Now, whether that is right or wrong, I don't know. We can have a discussion. Let me stop there for now.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairman. Temana.
Now, maybe I'll just start from that point where Jet ended from.
Yes.
How money came in. You see, God created us and placed us in different geographical locations. But we are supposed to work and support each other. I'll give an example from Western Uganda. You would find that there are some people who are cattle keepers and they have ghee. Then there are also people who are doing salt works, the Banyoro or the Batoro. So for them, they have salt, but they don't have ghee. Then you have other people that can hunt. Then you have other people that have herbs. So the system that time was that you cannot survive on only the salt that you're making. Neither can you only survive on the ghee that you're producing. So whereas you have plenty of ghee, the other person has plenty of salt, the other person has plenty of matoke. So you're supposed to trade within yourselves, give what you have in excess, receive what you don't have. And that's how the economy was working. Then and this is what I'm talking about. This is how all communities were actually working within themselves. Then, of course, with time, they started using a medium of exchange. They started with so many things, but then finally, they settled for gold. Now, gold is bulky. So, of course, some of these things that we are talking about, the mediums of exchange, you may have ghee, but then you're looking for a shoe. And the person who has a shoe does not want your ghee. So now there's no exchange. Then now they started bringing in mediums of exchange. Then they brought in gold. Now gold was very bulky. So instead of you carrying gold from Churuhura to Toro, you would carry your gold, leave it at a goldsmith, the people who are in charge of modifying that gold and refining it, and then he gives you a paper. So you go with that paper to Toro. When you present that paper, you tell them, by the way, I have my 5 kilos of gold. I left them with a goldsmith. Here is the confirmation with a stamp. Then they give you products worth that amount of money, of course. Then later, these goldsmith, they started creating money out of that. This is what I mean. When Isaiah brings 5 kilos of gold, they will come and tell Jethro that actually we can give you a note which you can go and buy things, even if Jethro has not brought gold, but they use Isaiah's gold to give Jethro a note. So now Isaiah has a note of 5 kilos. Jethro also has a note of 5 kilos, but the actual gold that is there in the store is 5 kilos. But the notes that are out are equating to 10 kilos. And then with time, that was very profitable. So they started creating from 10 to 20 to 30 to a lot of money, to a lot of, so you have a lot of papers outside, but then the actual physical gold that is present is less, or even non-comparable. Now, that makes the greed, which were, and of course, these goldsmiths are the people that turned out to be bankers, the bankers that we hear now, the banks. That creation of money and capitalism is the one that has started the driving of the economy. Some people say that it's in a good direction, but realistically, it is driving the economy in a very, very bad situation. It's the one that has caused wars. Wars were there, but some wars were just for dominance. But like the prominent wars that we have had, the World War I and World War II, were basically due to capitalism. So now work shifted from survival, and then it shifted to, well, how much do I have and how much do I possess? And remember, our eyes, like the Bible says, are like a bottomless pit. They can never get satisfied. You get one house, you want another one. You get another one, you get another one. You want one, you have one car, like that. So now we shifted work from the basic needs of survival, because we can all agree here. Like, in all honesty, you need like one pair of shoes, but then you find that you have like 20. You need one house to stay in, but you find that you have like 20 houses. So the work, because you can work and access this, it has taken our principles of work from basic needs for survival to accumulating wealth. And the more we accumulate wealth, the more we are suffocating other people who don't have. Because God counted, he said, me, I'm going to create, let's say Uganda has 500 people, 50 million people, they need one lake, they need these forests. This is enough for them. If everyone works to the bare minimum, everyone will be happy. But because you find that one rich man has wealth for the rest of the other people, then there is a vacuum that is created. And then these people have to work harder. Remember, even the other rich man is also working harder to increase on his wealth. Then also these ones are working harder to make sure that they become like him or to survive. So then we're just in that mix. And because of the disorganization that we have now, that's where we just keep working. The rich man reaches 90 years, he has accumulated all this, and then he's like, now, in our language, why was I suffering like this? Yeah, thank you.
Wow, that's very interesting. Francis, before you come in, I want these people to understand that me and Rutembana, we are socialists, and we think that capitalism has elongated the list of needs and has redefined needs. We socialists think that the things now we work for are not actually needs. It is capitalism that has actually given us a definition of needs, and it has smuggled greed through that definition of needs, and then also created a mode of competition and another mode of consumerism where people just gather and gather, unending gathering. And entirely in principle, capitalism has abused the philosophy of working. And that's why even though we are working, we are not happy to work. We are painfully working. We are working under duress and under pressure, which is very unfortunate. And I don't think that is the original design of the God who created us to work. Well, that is for us socialists. We don't know about you capitalists, Francis. Yes.
I'm a social capitalist. There is social capitalism, by the way.
I know.
And I'm one of the. I'm a social capitalist. That's my belief. I believe that capitalism is at the core of it. it helps in wealth creation, but it has to be, capitalism is a beast that has to be tamed. And what my brother said, many times when we work with, we start off working to meet our needs, our needs basically. Then when our needs are satisfied, we go to wants, our desires, the ones which are beyond the basics. Then even when we get our desires, the desires, as Peterson has said, are endless. When you want a desire at one level, when you achieve that level, for example, in vehicles, if you want a 30 million vehicle, when you get it, you want a 60 million. When you get a 60 million, you want a 100
Your
million
network,
one.
your
So
network.
in social capitalism, you can't hear me even now?
Yeah, you continue there. Continue there.
Okay. In social capitalism, there is there is advice given by several social capitalists on continuous taming, on checking of our need to work more, to acquire more. We need every now and then we need to sit back and reflect on the reason why we are really working. Why do you really need that other vehicle? Do you need to really upgrade from the vehicle you have to another one? Do you need that second house? Do you need that those so many pairs of shoes and all that? And it's something which I've ever since I read the theory and internalized it. It's something which I've put in practice over the years. Before I buy anything, or before I venture into anything else, actually that's the reason why I even retired when I was 39. There is an amount of money which I needed to make sure that of course reflecting inflation too, there's an amount of money which I needed to make sure that my needs and immediate wants are met. And the moment my monthly income, my disposable income was hit that amount, in 2017, it was 2 millions. That's what I needed. The moment my disposable income hit 2 millions, I stopped. I retired because there was no reason for earning more money. Yet I could get this money for working to earn money. Yet I could get this money from my real estate, from my rentals. So to me, many times we have to check what we need, because working is endless. If you are to follow our needs and desires as the capitalistic world pushes us, we will never stop. And actually, because we'll need more and more, because the more you earn, the more money you get from working, the more you need. The rich and wealthy want more money than the poor, I'll assure you. They have more desire and appetite for money. Actually, they will cheat and kill and maim others to make sure they earn more. And the more they are earning, they don't even need it. So we need to sit down and check. Then the other thing we should check from work is the results of our work, the resources we've gotten from work. Still, this is social capitalism. When you get resources which you do not need, which you do not want, actually your wants are met, your needs are met, please, there are many other people who are out there who need those resources. Give them out. For me, every year I look through my wardrobe and I get out the shoes, the clothes which I haven't worn, which I haven't used in so many months, and I give them out. There's a time when I took stock of some few houses which I had, and I gave out some few apartments, some few rentals. I gave them out to people who really needed them. I had some friends and relatives who needed them, and I gave them out. At one point, my dad had given me some more land than others, and I had a brother who hadn't gotten land. I cut off a portion of my land and I gave it to him, because many times we get these resources and clamp them onto ourselves, but then sometimes they're even a burden on maintaining them, protecting them, looking after them, and there are people who need them. So this capitalism and the human desire and greed, where we like amassing wealth for working and working and working for wealth which we don't need. we should keep checking ourselves and in turn checking that appetite. But we shouldn't stop working, definitely, even if because as I said earlier on, that we need work to help us live, to get meaning in life. But that extra money you're getting, if you don't really need it and want it, and you've checked logically, you be honestly and logically check that you don't need it, then the poor will always be among us, and those who need that money or who need those resources are around us, and we should be able to distribute it likewise. Thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant. That's interesting. What I want to ask two questions. Number one, what is the goal of working? And let us personalize this. If for those of you actually who can, what is your goal? Do you have a goal? And what do you mean when you say that you have a goal? Do you mean that when you score that goal, you are done with working? Or you're going to change the way you are working? Is there a time when you're going to change the way you are working? Because some of you had a goal of living rent and building a house. So you were working very hard so that you can build a house. Now, almost all of you here built houses. What's the goal? What's your goal? Why are you working? What are you working towards? Okay. Then the other question is you will choose which one you want to go for. Whom are you working for? Are you working for yourself? Are you working for your children or family? Whom are you working for? And why? Anyone who wants to jump in?
If I may, I remember I answered that question, I think, in my earlier submission. For me, earlier on, as I said, my goal for working was to meet certain needs and wants for my family. And that was, I remember setting those goals, particular goals, which actually that particular goal in 2007. And I thought I would achieve it in my 40s. So the moment those needs and wants were met at a particular level, which was okay for me, a modest level, not even a very high level or a high level, I stopped working. I stopped working for money, basically. But then my goals change, because many times when you achieve one goal, my goals for work changed. Nowadays I work to enjoy, to have meaning in life. That's the main reason why I wake up and work sometimes, and I do things which I love. I do a bit of accounting and construction work, which are my passion. So my goals, first of all, the answer is yes, we have goals to work, and many of our goals are to meet basic needs and wants. Then two, to find meaning in life. And those are goals which I got afterwards. After achieving the earlier set of goals, in sociology we call them self-actualization. Then you get to other goals which are called self-actualization goals from the other basic goals. So yeah, and by the way, even when you're working in this, when the goals change, even the way you work changes. You find the way you work changes. I no longer work from 8. That time when I used to work to make ends meet, I used to wake up at 5:30. I would leave home at 6:15, and I'll get to work by 7:15, 7:30. And then I would, when I was employed, I would leave work at 5, and I would get home at endure the jam and get home at about 7, 6:37. So that was the routine. The way I used to work harder. I used to. Nowadays I work smarter. I work more smarter than harder, and I used to have so many working hours. Nowadays I have very few working hours a week. They don't go over 20. They usually be between 12 and 20 productive working hours a week. So and then the others are for it's leisure work. It's leisure work. The other ones are leisure work. So the way we work when our goals change, from basic goals to self-actualization goals, from survival to then to self-actualization, the way work always changes when those goals change. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Any other person? Because for me, I if self-actualization is at the peak, is that a goal? Jethro, do you think self-actualization is a goal?
If a goal is something you can achieve, then self-actualization is not a goal. Because somehow there's no target. It's a moving target, in my opinion.
Yes.
So I don't know that it can really be considered a goal. Yeah, because I was reading today, I don't know if you guys have seen the articles. Japan's economy is in decline.
Why?
It's not, yeah, it's in decline apparently. Of course, there are many reasons why, but one of them is an aging population. Now, because they don't have workers, young people coming up to take over some of the jobs, and of course, capitalism feeds on people. Get them young, take the most productive time of their lives, spit them out at 60, 55, pick up new ones. So the Japan economic machine has not been getting new workers. So the economy is in decline, people are aging, and that's because of this thing called work. Because many of them were focused on working, the cost of living was so high, many of them did not have babies. At most, they had only one.
They're even struggling with the population. Houses are empty and deserted. No people there.
Yes, houses are empty because people didn't have babies, didn't even get married because they had to survive. Yeah, so this thing called work is a real, a real monster. And it's but going back to your earlier question, what am I working for? Personally, I'm not like Francis yet. If I stopped working today, I don't think I would survive. By surviving, I mean meeting my basics. Yes, thankfully, I have accommodation. I can sleep here and drink water, but I don't think I'll be able to afford.
House.
Exactly. I don't think I'll be able to afford the basics. So for me, I'm working for myself for now. Not even my children or grandchildren. No, still working for myself.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Bob. Yes, Muyanja. That's why you come in. No problem.
Yeah, I mean, I've really been thinking about this thing called life and work. You brought in the aspect of self-actualization. Some of you who are part of a group that I belong to, I shared some videos of a friend of mine, a doctor. He's a doctor. He's been a doctor, a businessman. You know, he has built this flat. You would say he had reached his self-actualization, kind of. You know, like, I mean, he had everything in name, and he was a good guy. You know, but he had a thing. Part of his fun bit was to go and do these bike rides. You know, he had this very expensive bike, and he got involved in an accident, and we lost him. I was thinking of Sudhir's son, you know, with all the riches and him riding in a $900 million car. The car, you know, he died in his car. Basically, the love for speed and whatever other issues were there, you know, led to his death. So in other words, the gadgets bought because of the extra money and through hard work or through those self-actualization led to their death. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying. So to another poor guy who doesn't have a bike, maybe he can die of whatever, but at least he's not like, oh, at least if, I mean, I didn't have that high speed bike. I didn't have that high speed car, you know, or something like that. So I'm just trying to say that even as we work hard, even as we self-actualize, even as we reach our goals, there's a very big calling to do this responsibly. What is life? You know, you don't need to sleep in a 5-6 bedroom house. You don't need to, you know, to ride this bike, or you don't need this all this much. You know, can you live responsibly? You know, because at the end of the day, we still value life. We still need to see other. I mean, we still have other goals to achieve, unless if we think that that's the end of it all. Once we have got those riches, then we can die. Then that's fine. But I believe every young man wants to live longer. Every person wants to live longer to see their grandkids or to see life through. So as we work hard every day to achieve our goals, let's remember to do it responsibly. That knowing that you as long as you have your basics and are able to take care of yourself to cover your basic needs, you are good to go. You know, just as Francis said, have a ceiling. It's okay to want more, but remember, wherever you want more, calculate what that puts you at risk. People have wanted more and they have mortgaged their houses, their businesses, and then they have gotten into much more trouble. I mean, they have gone and got bigger bank loans to expand their businesses, and this has led to their downfall, to file for bankruptcy, because they wanted to expand more than, you know, they didn't take calculated risks. So let's do this responsibly. For me, I have no problem with someone dreaming to live a higher life. Okay, it is your life. I mean, it's what you have defined, but do it responsibly. Don't risk your life. For example, don't buy high speed car. You love for speed, so you love your Subarus. You love your, you know, it will lead to your death. You know, drive. Respect traffic laws. You know, don't drink and drive. You know, you have your money. Don't, you know. So let's do things responsibly. Even as we desire. Me, there's no problem with you wanting more in life, but do it responsibly and don't risk more through wanting more, you know. Otherwise, I mean, I know of a very rich guy who was almost losing their school investment of billions of shillings, because they took a bigger bank loan and they invested in a forest and whatever, and someone came and burnt the entire forest, you know.
Dear.
And they almost lost everything. And this is a very rich, respected man. So in it, you would say, well, can't you be content with the school you have built, which is earning you millions? Why do you want to risk to expand it further by risking everything, to diversify your income by risking what you have? So for me, that is my input, that let's be responsible, and life comes first. Rest, if you have to rest because your body needs that rest, it's healthy for you. But also, if you want to expand and you're working hard to expand, because people, I shared an article some time back. Bill Gates is giving away all his billions before I think before he dies. You know, he's going to give away all his billions. He wants to give away 99% of his money for improving health, for, you know, before I think he dies, because he's almost, he said in the next 20 years he wants to give away every dollar he has accumulated, which is a good thing. So other people, as Francis shared, you have extra, give the one who does not have. So this is what he's doing, and he wouldn't give it away if he did not have it. Okay, so you can work hard to have more to help others. It is a good thing.
Okay, thank you very much. This is so edifying. This is very, very, very edifying. It is becoming sweet. Yes, I am coming to. Yeah, let me first go with Rutembana, because he has been with us. Professor, you had deserted us. So let me first go with Rutembana. Rutembana, where are you working?
Me, I said, me, I work to survive.
Okay.
Yes, I work to survive to see another day. And I wanted to come to that point where Bob stopped from, of Bill Gates. You know, that is the theory that runs around. First of all, you've heard of this thing called these corporate social responsibilities, then donations. The other time someone was making a calculation of how much the US embassy makes from the visa fees, then versus the money versus the money that we get through these donations. But you have a man, Bill Gates, who has been making money for the last 50 years, and all the money that he has accumulated and all that. Now he's trying to show that now I'm a good man. I could have cheated you for the last 50 years, and now I want to give back. Of course, that is also questioned. There are some conspiracy theories behind that, but let's take it at face value. Now, in most cases, rich people become rich because they are stepping on for you to rise to the top, you've climbed on so many other people for you to rise to that top. And
Yes.
there are so many people that you've climbed on. Some you've cheated them, some you've stolen from them. You've done all those kinds of things for you to accumulate that money that you've accumulated, because we all come here with nothing. Whatever we get, we find it here, and that's why even when after working, we leave it here. So the resources that we use are just for this field here called Earth. You find them here, you use them, you leave them here. So all the years that we say working, you're just playing resources, get this one, get like that. And you do that like for a maximum of 40 years, because assuming we start working at 20 years, by maybe 70 years, you're worn out. But whatever you do in those 40 years, changa the resources from here to here to here for you to accumulate wealth, it harms and hurts so many people. Now, when you come out after 70 years of doing all that you've been doing, and then you want to now give back, some of them even get saved, some of them build churches, some of them build hospitals that they're giving back to the community. But the harm that you did in those 40 years, the sins that you committed, if the earth was to judge, they cannot be taken away by mere donations that you're doing. You built a church or a hospital, you're giving back all your money.
Unfortunately, that is life. Yes, Professor, that's why you come in, sir. Long time.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, I thank the Lord. I'm back home. I've reached well, safely. Yes, thank you very much. I would like to go contrary to what the pre-current speaker, Bob Muyanja, has put across. According to Mr. Muyanja, work responsibly. I think that one is a principle I cannot go against. Work responsibly. But what I would like to go contrary to is the claim that you should not risk. Why? Because this is a Monday, to live and to work in a broken world, the world of sin, is a risk. I don't think there is anything called do not risk. In this broken world, to live, just to live, to be here alive, to be alive in this broken world is a risk. To work in this broken world of sin is a risk. Not to work is equally a risk. Probably we can only discuss magnitude and extents, but risk. Because, I mean, to travel in your own car is a risk. To travel in a public means of transport is a risk. To travel in a taxi is a risk. On a boda is a risk. To ride a bicycle is a risk. You know, to go to the garden, it is a risk. To do what I'm doing in the world of academia and scholarly world is a risk. So I think we wouldn't tell people not to risk, because even to work and to live here is a risk. Probably we can say calculate. Probably you may calculate the risk. Taking an example of the gentleman, a friend of his, he has brought forward, one who loves bicycles. I have a brother, Isaiah White, who loves bicycles. I don't think even when Isaiah White gets the means of owning a car, he will ever abandon bicycles. I have another elder brother, Samson Kasumba. He's in love with motorcycles. The guy loves motorcycles. So the guy was pursuing what they love, but because he was riding in a risky environment, even riding in this environment is a risk itself, risk befell him. In fact, he collided with risk. Yeah, so if you want to have money and you have defined that you need millions of money and you need to risk more, please go. Do risk more. If you want to have 3 PhDs, risk more. Okay, if you want to be a virologist, like my brother Muyanja, okay, people are dying of viruses and you decide to go of all professions to specialize in viruses. I mean, that's a risk. So what are your desires? I mean, what are my desires? What are my wants? What are my needs? Yeah, I can go risks, all right? I can go risks in order to achieve them. Why? Because even not to is risk enough. I submit, moderator.
Yes, Bob. Bob, come and clarify because, yeah, sure. Bob.
Yeah,
Hello.
just a quick one. I think I did not say people should not risk. I said it has to be calculated. That's why I said you want more. You remember me saying you want more?
Yeah,
Make
sure.
more
That's
money,
how,
but
that's how
don't
I was
risk.
thinking.
Yes. So I did not stop people from risking. I just asked them to take calculated risks. Okay. Yes, you like your desire, go for your desires, but just know the consequences of what is going to happen if you overstep. Okay. It is fine to have a sport. I mean, to drive rally cars or whatever, a bike, whatever as your sport. But suppose it because it is said that maybe today's son was under the influence. You get? Now that is beyond. I mean, if he's driving a rally car on a normal day, he has never, even when he got an accident, he was always gotten out of the car. But this time he was probably or drunk or under drugs, and then he just smashed the thing, and there he went. So there was another unresponsible act which preceded that. As I gave an example of a guy who had a very good school, and then he wanted to get him another bigger loan and buy, and do a simbemiti, and then someone burnt the entire forest. Now the school he had was at risk of being lost, taken by the bank. So take a calculated risk, but know that you don't overwant something and then you lose what you have. I don't know whether that makes sense.
Exactly.
That's what I wanted to submit.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Yes, Professor, you haven't been around, so you are going to take all the time that you want. Come in again.
Yeah, this brings me to another question through you, Mr. Moderator. Between the difference between ambition and greed, how may we draw a clear-cut difference between being ambitious and being greedy? And then, being prudent, okay, and being daring. How do we balance between these terms as far as work is concerned?
Okay. Francis, you want to come in on that? Francis, are you greedy or you ambitious?
I think I've been accused of
a social capitalist. Is a social capitalist greedy or ambitious?
I think from my experience, from my experience, I don't consider myself to be greedy because I've been accused by several people who know me that I'm too laid back. I'm not ambitious enough. That I'm not. That I don't want wealth enough because of turning down so many opportunities of earning more wealth. So I think I'm too. I'm too cautious about pursuing what I don't need at the cost of my peace. So I usually go slow on more money and more wealth. I'm too cautious lately. I'm not greedy. I'm not greedy. But I'm ambitious. I have limited ambition. My level, I have modest ambition. My ambition is quite moderate as a social
So what's the
capitalist.
difference? You have the brother. What's
Pardon?
the difference now? What's the difference between being ambitious and being greedy? How would you go about that?
Ambition is about goals. Is about being ambitious is setting goals which you want to achieve and going after them. So if you are too ambitious, that means that you're very fervent in pursuing those goals. Now, being greedy is pursuing wealth or power that's beyond your needs and wants. That's greed. Greed is pursuing things which you don't even need, and you want them for the sake of wanting them and pursuing them fervently. That's greed. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Jethro, are you there?
I'm here, Sebo, but Professor Servide wants to finish all his words today, so
Yes,
give him a chance.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you, Mr. Lugolobi. Yes, I think you have enlightened me more about ambition. You set a goal and you fervently pursue it, while greed is accumulating unnecessary materials or material or wants. You have 10 pairs of shoes, but you last wore the fourth pair 7 months ago. So probably that defines greed. I don't know, maybe because I came late, Mr. Moderator, did the discussants make the difference between work and job?
You want to give us that difference?
No, no, well, it was just it was crossing over my head to say,
Yeah, sure.
work.
You can give us what you think. Give us what you think.
Thank you. Let me dare a response. Thank you very much. That work is anything you do in order to change the state or to transform the state of affairs. Anything you do that changes, that transforms, that brings about a change in the state of affairs is work. Now, this change in the state of affairs might be negative, it might be positive, but as long as there has been a change in a state of affairs, for example, when you wake up, or when we wake up and wash our face, we have changed the state of affairs of our face. That has been work. As basic as that, to begin with. If you lay your bed, you have changed the state of the bed. If you plant trees or cut them down, you have changed the state of affairs. You have done work. On the other hand, job is work that is conditioned by reward, whereby without the reward, you cannot work or you cannot proceed with working. In other words, whenever work is on condition, if it is on the if. Whenever we create an if, a reward-based if on work, then we are jobbing. It is work has now returned into jobbing. Now you're jobbing. Why? Because the withdrawal of that reward makes you cease from work. So in this world where, because I'm speaking to Christians and maybe others who will ever listen to this again, in this world, what do we ought to prefer? Must we prefer anyway? Or what should we choose if we have any choice anyway? Do we have any choice? Probably we might graduate from job to work, or we might get degraded from work to job. Now, you see, my terms are full of attitude. I'm trying to exude work and putting down job. But in this broken world, I don't know whether we can keep away from jobs. I don't know. I think even jobs have become a need. Have they? I think that's what I can say now. That's what I wanted to dare tickle other people's minds. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Okay, thank you very much. Jethro, that's why you come in. We have 6 minutes, so I'm going to go through the list. You give us your parting shots, what you've gathered, what you think. Yeah, sure. Chairman, are you there? Yeah, sure.
The questions. Okay, I just want to talk about maybe.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
You can hear me? Okay.
Yes,
my
I
network
can.
Yeah.
kind of
We
did a
can
thing.
hear
Anyway,
you loud and clear. We lost you.
He has actually stopped talking. Chairman, are you there? You're going to fix your network?
okay. You go ahead with someone else. Sorry.
Okay, fine. All right then. Ariong, you still can't talk? Ariong? Okay. Fine then. Thembana, what are your parting shots? Your takeaways from all this discussion? Your advice to all of us who are working?
Yes. Me, I think one of the things that we need to learn as human beings is the concept of what is enough for me and what do I need to survive. Because we are here on this earth, but of course we have failed to understand this. We know that we come here with nothing, we work and accumulate certain things, but then eventually we again leave them here. So the possessions that we have, okay, now we're talking about work because we work to achieve certain things, and we need to know that those things that we want to achieve, what is the minimum quantity or quality do I need?
Exactly.
So that when you reach that, because we all go through the same, we're going to leave them here. So that when you can understand that, then it will make the work much easier. Yeah, me, that's what I can say.
Okay, that's interesting. Because really, we can work and work until we die. Yes, Mr. Muyanja.
Yeah, I believe there's no problem with someone working hard and achieving more. The end goal should be to help as many. Okay. If you have reached your ceiling, like let's say, Francis has, and he knows this is my basic. There's no harm in venturing into, again, as I said, carefully with calculated risks to earn more so that you can help more people, you can lift more people up. So for me, this is the principle that I'm trying to look at. And I was also taught that once you help people get what they want, you eventually also get what you want. So there's no need for you to buy a 7-seater car when you are leaving church or going somewhere, and a person who doesn't have a car and you need to give them a lift, you don't give them a lift. So the concept of whatever we have, we need to use it for helping other people too, even when we have achieved our goal, because we are not living for ourselves alone, but also for to leave this world a better place. Now, it is okay for rich people who have stolen money to give it back if they desire, because not every rich person gives back their money. Many have come even and they've told us that they are only working for themselves and their families. So even if they have looted the countries, whatever wealth they have amassed, they are leaving it for themselves and their families.
Yes.
This is, for me, the desire would be if a rich person has stolen and eventually they've realized that, okay, I think I should give this money back. It is a good choice. Zacchaeus stole. Once he saw the light, he said, I'm giving I don't remember either 2-3 times back what I had taken for in many videos. So it is okay. Be rich, give away what you have to help other people.
Share. You work with what you have to help other people work. I think that is very interesting. Yes. Okay. Rion cannot talk, so I'm going to have Day, and then the chairman will have the last word after he has fixed his network.
Mr. Moderator, I'm sorry to
take your time. You have 7 minutes.
I was here thinking, because we are discussing work. When do we say I am lazy?
When you're not working like you should be working.
Is there then a standard when you say the shouldness? Is there a shouldness about work?
Yes, the shouldness is the change. You gave us a definition of work. When things around you are not changing, then you should change those things. You have compromised on the shouldness. Working, are you changing your environment? Are you changing your world? Are you changing your life? Are you changing your home? That is the shouldness. So if you're not doing that, you are lazy and you are not actually faithful.
Isaiah.
Yes?
I was supposed to say that an example of Sudil's son.
Yes.
Do you know that he's giving a scholarship to Fresh Kid, and this other girl kind of overshadowed all the other things? They were reporting, oh, he was a philanthropy. You get what I'm saying? Like, yes, all the evil. They were fronting, oh, he gave, he took them to big schools. So what, as you talked about, are you changing community? Are you leaving this world a better place? People will overlook all the bad things you have done if you are having a positive impact in people's lives.
Exactly. So, Professor, there you are.
Because I am 41.
Because Professor, before you go, I want to read your verse here. If anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for his own family, he has disowned the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. So you were saying, continue.
Yeah. So yeah, I was saying that the reason I asked is that I am 41, and someone or some people think that I must be living in my own built house. Am I lazy?
Yes, you are. Because you see, you are 41, right?
Yes.
Are you saying nothing has changed about your life over these years?
No, a lot of positive things have changed, and they're changing, a lot of them. And I'm counting my blessings, are countless. I've failed to count now.
Now you are lazy. You are lazy in the aspect that you have subjected yourself to another narrative that has nothing to do with the divine narrative. You see, dear Christians, stop judging yourself based on the standards of the world. Judge yourselves based on the standards of reality. That's the whole thing. You find someone who has not built a house at 41 years, and there's a 20-year-old who has built a house, and then the 41 years is this guy that he's a lazy and is a failure. What is the canon that you are using? So you are being lazy to judge yourself by different canons, which are not actually yours. So anyway, unless if you have any other parting shot, I wanted to go to the chairman and hear his network.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I was only wondering. Hello?
Yes.
Yes, I was only wondering. I wake up, I go to work. That's what my parents have been doing. That's what now I'm training Dineta to go through. The girl wakes up at 5 or 6 to get ready for school. Then after school, look for a job and so on. What is the end? What is the end of work in this world?
Okay, thank you. Chairman?
There's no end. There's no end, Peter. Sorry. You work, your Dineta will work, Dineta's children will work until Jesus comes. Even in heaven will work, apparently. So just that the motivation will be different. So there's no end to work. But for me, my takeaway is, I think that question we asked somewhere in the middle. Why am I working? I think it's something I need to keep asking myself. Why are you working? Otherwise, many times we tend to get it mixed up between working for yourself and working for your children and children's children, as it says in Proverbs. A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. I don't know whether that inheritance is money from work or something else, but yeah, so for me, my takeaway is asking myself that question, why am I really working? Or what do I hope to achieve out of work?
Yes.
And to what end anyway? Yeah, so that's it for me.
That's very important. So
yet I told my kids that unfortunately I may not be that person that verse talks about. If inheritance is leaving them with buildings and extra cash. I told them I'm just here to push them in their dreams and goals, and that is it.
Exactly. That's a very, very important aspect of it. You see, one of the things that we have established here at iTiS is that we are stewards of our children. They are not our properties. These are human beings created in the image of God. We are just stewarding them until they can set off. So don't stress yourself of working for children. It is which children? You only work for children. You don't work for adults.
So what inheritance is being talked about?
Mukiwulidde ekyo nange kintomeredde wano.
Tetukolerera ki?
tetukolera abantu bakulu bantu ba Mukama tukolera baana. So omwana wo bw'ava mu bwana aba afuuse muntu mukulu muno n'agenda muleka agende.
So what inheritance do we leave for those children, as Proverbs says?
Biki by'omusomeseza? What have you taught them about life? Have you showed them the right God? Have you told them the truth about life? That is the inheritance. For instance, let me give you an example, Brother Jethro. Now, even our time is up, unfortunately. Mr. Kasato. What did Mr. Kasato leave behind in contrast to what his boys have economically?
Economically, he didn't leave us a lot, by the way.
I expect you to say nothing. Because I say
nothing.
Compared to his boys.
Nothing. Nothing.
But he left only one fundamental thing. Yabayigiriza values. True or false?
True.
Ye legacy. Ye inheritance gyolekera abaana bo. Abaana bo tubalekera kalina. Abaana bo balekera philosophy of life. Kubanga philosophy of life tebasobola tebalina we bagitunda teyina katale. Naye kalina bagitunda ne basigala mu bba.
Bala mwali mu kutwala za BMK anti mutabani we yatonda.
Weebale nnyo. So kati bw'oba oli awo nti abaana bange nja kubalekera ennyumba, nja kubalekera bizinesi ya Ford ebaddeyo emyaka 5 mu 5. Kanogamba mbu alina kye yalekera abaana. Ekyo business company ya Ford si yo gye yalekera abaana. Abaana ba Ford lwaki eyo bizinesi bagiwaniridde emyaka 5? Ekyo kyekikulu, ekyo kye yabalekera, so si bizinesi ya Ford. Wali wantegedde?
Damu awo sokoddemu katono awo. Ford teyabalekera ki?
Bizinesi ya Ford ebaddewo emyaka 5. Bannange mukolere abaana bammwe, mukolere abaana bammwe, omwana wo beeko ne ky'omulekera. Kati ng'abantu balowooza nti Ford yalekera abaana be kampuni ya Ford. Nedda, yabalekera obusobozi obuddukanya Ford emyaka 5 kubanga 50 years after Ford nga yafa, Ford weeri. Kati kye yabalekera kyekiri, ekyo ky'oteeka okulekera abaana. Bayibuli kyeva egamba nti omuntu omugezi alekera abaana b'abaana be obusika. Ebyo si bya bugagga. Ezo values ze zibeera passed on generation after generation.
Gamba tulina n'okubuuza.
Yesu yebaza.
Tulina n'okubuuza. Kale. Kristo yebaza.
Amen.
Gende tukole bannaye, tugende tukole.
Mubadde temukola.
Tetunazimba nyumba.